So I just pre-ordered my Meta Quest 3, but I'm sure, like some of you, like many people, I really struggled to decide whether to get the 128GB or the 512GB version. Well, obviously the 512GB is quite a bit more expensive, the headset itself, so it's quite a jump in price from the last version. I've had the Quest 2 since it came out, and I got, I think, the lowest 64GB version, so that did fill up quite quickly. To help me decide, I thought pretty much the logical thing to do would be to take a look at the most recent and popular VR games available on the Quest, coming up for the Quest 3 as well, and see how big they are and whether I'm likely to play them and how much storage space they take up. So here is the table that I drew up, and here are the sizes of these games. And now there's no denying that VR games are getting larger and larger, and that's not really surprising because, for example, Medal of Honor, which is probably the largest VR game that I've found, is 40GB, and that is a big chunk of a 128GB memory. The upcoming Asgard's Wrath, which comes free with pretty much every pre-order of a Quest 3, that's apparently going to be around 30GB. So even if you just wanted those two, that would take up about nearly half the space of the lower storage option. The Quest 3 is going to come packed with a much more powerful processor, the next generation mobile processor. Compared to the Quest 2, I think it's supposed to be like 3 times more powerful. It also comes with 2GB extra of RAM. These kind of things are going to allow game developers to create more advanced, more complex, larger, more complicated games, so they're going to keep getting larger and larger. Having said that, on the flip side, I found myself primarily using my Quest 2 to play smaller, more arcadey-like games like Beat Saber, Superhot. These are all very, very fun, very active, very interactive VR games, which are only, most of them are under 2GB in size, and that is primarily what I used my Quest 2 for. Now, there's a reason for that, and that's because I actually found the Quest 2 really difficult to wear for long periods of time. It would be uncomfortable, it would give me like red marks on my face, so I really couldn't see myself playing these larger games. Even though there are some larger, longer, more complex games for the Quest 2, I literally could not see myself using and wearing this for more than 20 or 30 minutes at a time. Then it would just become really uncomfortable. But then again, the Quest 3, and I haven't used it yet, but from what I can tell, it's going to be a lot more comfortable. The new design features much smaller lenses, so the overall size of the headset is much thinner, so it should be much less top heavy. It also seems like they have redesigned the strap to be a bit more comfortable, and of course you can get the more elite strap or whatever it's called, and that should be more comfortable as well. So perhaps it will be possible to play these longer, more complex games for longer periods of time. Therefore, you may be more inclined to use them, download them, buy them, and therefore you'll need the extra space. But I'm still not entirely convinced, because so far I've found every VR headset to be a little bit uncomfortable and not really possible for me to wear them for more than 20 or 30 minutes. But the trend is going to be for even these smaller VR games, the kind of arcadey ones, they're still going to keep getting larger and more complex as the textures improve, as well, everything gets just a bit more advanced and a bit more visually impressive. So even those games are going to keep getting bigger, but I would consider myself more of a casual VR user. I prefer the shorter games. I prefer watching videos that are, 5 to 10 minutes long. So for me, I'm a casual user, so perhaps the smaller storage option is going to be fine. For the 128GB version, I could probably download 1 or 2 of these larger games like Medal of Honor or Assassin's Creed, which is coming up, or this Asgard's Wrath. Should be able to download 1 or 2 of those, have them on the Quest at the same time, and still have most of these smaller arcade games as well. But also, what about video? Because the Quest can also be used to consume media like 360 videos, like 3D videos. You can watch standard videos on what appears to be like a cinema screen, so it's very cinematic. Now, you can stream these from various apps, but you can also download them and put them onto the Quest themselves. If you wanted to do the latter, download them. These files, these 360 videos, the 3D videos, are going to be very large. They can be up to 5 to 10GB for a 5-minute experience, so bear that in mind as well. If you wanted a lot of those, it would fill up your storage quickly. Just to quickly summarize this, guys, obviously the trend is for larger and larger games. You could see there on my table, there are quite a few games going north of 20 gigabytes for an install. And once developers start making games only for the Quest 3, those file sizes are going to get bigger and bigger. So we may end up seeing 50, 60, 70 gigabyte games in the near future. So if you wanted a lot of these games available to you at once without having to reinstall, delete, install again, then yeah, the 512 gigabyte version is probably going to be the only option, because just 2 or 3 of these large games are going to fill up your lower storage version pretty quickly. But for me, I pretty much decided to go with the 128 gigabyte version because, like I said, I'm not entirely convinced of how comfortable it's going to be to wear. Also, I live in London, which is pretty much the most expensive place on the planet, and I've traveled to like 5 countries this year. So to put it quite bluntly, I didn't want to spend that much money on it. So I hope that table of the game sizes helped you in some way decide. I pre-ordered my Quest 3 on Amazon just because apparently it delivers a day before on the 10th compared to Meta, and it has, from what I understand, a fairly generous returns policy and warranty. So that's where I ordered it from. You can get it anywhere you want. So I will have the Quest 3 pretty much when it comes out, so I will obviously make some videos about it. Is it more comfortable? I'm going to make a lot of comment about that, because if it's not more comfortable, then really what is the point? So yeah, if you're interested in the Quest 3 and what it can do, so stay tuned, subscribe, because I'll be bringing you a lot of content over the next few weeks about the Quest 3. I'll see you next time. Bye.